Oh my. Ah, NASCAR in 2024 has done it again. Oh my goodness. This is insane. Woo! Oh, look at this. Is this not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? This season, we have had like 3 photo finishes. We've had controversy on and off track. The team that is literally suing NASCAR might win the championship. Oh my goodness. What? Why do we go to Phoenix for the championship? Why? Imagine if that was the championship race. Homestead-Miami Speedway has always delivered. The 550 package had a couple stinkers, but that was a car issue. But the next gen era has been fantastic at this track, and today might have been the best of them all. Whether it was that last lap thrilling, maybe all-time finish, maybe that's an overreaction in the heat of the moment, between Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, and Ryan Blaney, whether it was Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney battling hard for the lead, whether it was Kyle Larson spinning himself out of the lead, we've seen that before, or fighting for the lead against Ryan Blaney, whether it was watching Denny Hamlin go through the pack on fresher tires, whether it was watching 3 wide for the lead, I can't even remember who it was. I think it was like Bell, Elliott, and Blaney maybe. Like, seeing the playoff drivers all perform at their top level, 1 through 7, and then Logano, who's already advanced, he was like, I don't know, 50th, it didn't matter. But seeing them perform at their top level, what else can you say about this race? Oh my goodness, that was a race you won't forget. Every single lane of the track was used. Every single move you wanted to make could be made. Ryan Blaney started this race 20th and made it up into the top 5 pretty darn quick. We saw guys go backwards, forwards, different strategies, great racing, the best drivers up front. I dare someone to hate this race. I dare you, and you will get roasted in the comments. That will be your punishment. But please don't be too cruel. Just say, oh, I disagree with your opinion. That's a stinky opinion. Don't be too mean. Anyways, oh my goodness. What a race. I can't even believe it. It was going to be a great race regardless of how that last green flag run went. Because even if Kyle Larson doesn't spin himself, if Larson passes Blaney and he goes on to win, if Blaney holds off Larson, it was a great race for the majority of the reasons I just listed. Different strategies, seeing guys have to come up through the field, seeing different guys up front, but it was the best guys up front. You can make moves on any part of the racetrack. What, you can't hate this race, honestly. And then Kyle Larson, who is known for being an aggressive driver, once again overstepped, and it could cost him a shot at the championship. Larson, with about 13, 14 to go, let's call it, is really close to Ryan Blaney. He's also really close to Austin Dillon, a lapped car. And Kyle Larson, how do I put this? He tried to split the gap in the turn because they knew that Denny Hamlin on fresher tires was charging, and Larson spun himself. Larson had spun earlier in the day thanks to a right rear tire going down, and he smacked the wall, but he was so close to the wall that it really didn't do any damage. And as a result, Larson, as I said, was able to charge through the field, get all the way back up to the top 5, was able to compete for this win with less than 15 laps to go. But in Kyle Larson fashion, a certified Kyle Larson moment happened, and Larson spun himself out of the lead. We saw it in this race last year when he drove into the barrels trying to pit. We saw it at Texas in 2023. We kind of saw it at Iowa this year. He had the best car and was in the middle of the pack because of different strategy, and he overstepped. And it's a Kyle Larson thing. He's a top-rated driver. He's one of the best in the world. But sometimes he can't help but tripping over himself and ruining his shot. And once again, that has happened. Even if he didn't win this race, even if he finishes second to Ryan Blaney, I think he would have been in the plus. It would have been close, but he would have been in the plus. Now he's in the minus. He's like -7. We'll look at the bubble later. But anyways, that leads to a restart. And lost in all of this Blaney-Larson thing is Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick started this day on pole. He dominated the early stages of this race. In fact, he won stage 1. He kind of got shuffled back. He didn't get shuffled to like 10th, 12th. He got shuffled to like 6th. That's the furthest he fell back on the day, really. As I said, the playoff drivers were 1 through 7 all day, with the exception of Logano, who's already advanced, and this race doesn't matter. So for Tyler Reddick, they knew that they had to swing for the fences. They knew that if they went on the same pit strategy, pitted with everyone else at around 50 laps to go, they weren't going to win this race. They weren't going to slice and dice their way through the top 5. They had to try something different. So Billy Scott did something different. He said, run that baby out of fuel and see what you can get. See if we can catch a caution. They didn't catch a caution while he was leading. The instant they lost the lead, they decided to pit, get fresh tires, fill it up on fuel, and get out of there. They came out back on the track, and they went a lap down for like half a lap. Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson lapped Tyler Reddick, but because Reddick had fresh rubber, tires mean so much at this racetrack, he blew right by him in like 2 corners. Like literally came out on the backstretch behind him, left turn 4 ahead of him. It was 1 lap later, maybe 2 laps later, that Kyle Larson decided to spin himself. So now all of a sudden, Tyler Reddick, most importantly, is on the lead lap. And secondly, only has 2-lap-old tires, which I honestly thought would play a bigger difference because of how much tires we're wearing today. I really thought that Tyler Reddick, maybe he could hold on for a lap or 2 if he gets a good restart, but I thought he was pretty much done for. I thought he'll finish 7th, maybe. Maybe he gets a good restart. Maybe he can hold on for a couple laps and finish 3rd, but no. He stays out. Literally everyone else pits, and it's Tyler Reddick on old tires versus Ryan Blaney on the inside. He's got his boss / Toyota teammate, Denny Hamlin behind him, Chase Elliott behind Ryan Blaney. Well, Reddick got a good initial launch. Blaney did not. And then Reddick's boss took him 3 wide, and all of a sudden Reddick falls to 4th. And it's like, okay, Tyler Reddick, his championship hopes are over. Probably not going to win at Martinsville next week, and he'll finish 12th. Like, he's going to go backwards on those old tires. Not so fast, my friend, in the words of Lee Corso. And Tyler Reddick stays in 4th. He stays there. Denny Hamlin takes the lead. Ryan Blaney, who's had arguably, the best car all day long, is trying to fight Denny Hamlin for the lead, but just can't quite get it. And in the meantime, Reddick gets ahead of Chase Elliott for 3rd place. And it's like, okay, well now if Hamlin and Blaney decide to screw around, maybe wreck each other, put each other in the wall, Reddick's got this thing, maybe. Well, they didn't quite wreck each other, but Ryan Blaney was able to get to the inside of Denny Hamlin, pull off the slide job, and get the lead with just a lap and a half to go. Ryan Blaney looking to defend his title, but Hamlin's still right there. And he's got a friend behind him, just in case he needs a push, if it comes down to that. Well, it did come down to that. Well, not really, but Hamlin goes super high. Reddick goes, I think, middle. Blaney goes low. Coming off the corner, a ton of momentum. Into 3 and 4, Blaney does not go to the top. He doesn't go to the bottom. He goes high, middle, and Reddick just blasts by him right on the fence, rips the fence, and wins. How? Ryan Blaney said he thought he drove as deep as he could into that corner. Reddick, somehow, someway, without hitting the wall, without having to chastain or hail melon that thing, wins it. Mind-blowing. Incredible. All-time great finish. Wow. Just wow. Really. What else can you say? No major championship implications outside the Larson incident. As I said, they were running 1 through 7 all day. They didn't finish that way because, of course, of Larson's incident. But they did finish 1 through 6. Let's look at these finishing results. Tyler Reddick makes his first NASCAR Championship 4 for now. We got about 2 hours. In 2 hours, we'll really know. Remember, 2311 Racing is fighting NASCAR right now. So pending inspection, Tyler Reddick's in the Championship 4. Realistically, the odds of him failing inspection, I would say, are really low, but once again, I'm all for a good conspiracy. So, but for real, Tyler Reddick makes his first championship four. And when we looked at this round, we said Vegas and Homestead, because his Martinsville numbers aren't great. And after Vegas last week, flipping over the start-finish line before the halfway point, we looked at this as a must-win. And points-wise, it almost was. I think he was like minus 32 or something. It was a really bad spot to be in for Tyler Reddick in the 45 team. You got MJ there. It's Miami. You got to win, and they did it. There was a good chunk of this day that didn't look like they were going to do it. They had to throw a Hail Mary with the strategy. They needed a last lap pass, but it took a ballsy move on the outside to stick it without wrecking yourself and without wrecking your opponent to end up winning that race. And Tyler Reddick did just that. He makes his first championship for 23XI Racing in their, 2021, 2022, in their fourth season as a team is in the championship four. Michael Jordan, who hasn't been to the Final Four since the 80s when he was at North Carolina, he's now in the Final Four, but the NASCAR Final Four. So Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin in the Final Four as team owners for Tyler Reddick, 23XI. Wow, that's a big story. If Michael Jordan wins the NASCAR championship as a team owner while suing NASCAR, woo, that's going to be quite the press conference. That's going to be quite the scene. Tyler Reddick wins. He's in the championship four. Martinsville no longer matters. They have an extra week to prep for Phoenix. Remember how good Toyota was at Phoenix in the spring. Ryan Blaney. That move is ultimately remember, he's really good at Martinsville. He could go out and win next week. But if he does not win Martinsville next week, that could be the difference between 2 championships and 1 championship. The difference between becoming the first back-to-back champion in this format. Once again, I'm not a driver, so I don't know anything. But if you're Blaney in this situation, I know Reddick's got to run. I know that, it's the last lap, last corner. But I feel like in that situation with this track, you've either got to go all the way to the bottom and hope he hits the wall, or when you see his momentum coming, pull a slide job. Or you got to just rip the fence and pray that they don't wreck you, in a sense. And he didn't really do either. He left a whole car's width to the wall and allowed Reddick to just around him. Once again, I'm not a race car driver, so I don't know what it's like to be in that situation. I don't know how to drive that racetrack, but from a fan's perspective, I was kind of like, wow, he gave him the top, and Tyler Reddick's known for that. So from my perspective, it's a bit of a head scratcher, but once again, I don't know what I'm talking about 90% of the time. But Ryan Blaney, second place, usually you'd say great day, happy with it, but after the bad race last week and the points situation, they needed that win. They're going to need a win next week. Third place, Denny Hamlin, almost the same situation. You're leading with a lap and a half to go, and Blaney didn't do anything absurd to get by him. He passed him clean. He passed him like a normal pass. You needed something to go different that last lap and a half. Denny Hamlin finishes third. He's not in as dire of a situation as Blaney, but he's like 18 behind, and when Byron's the guy above the cut, the most recent winner at Martinsville, that's not really a great position to be, so it's almost a must-win, but not quite. It's a weird middle ground almost, but once again, a win gets you in the championship four. But owner Denny Hamlin, he's really happy at least, but driver Denny Hamlin, disappointed. Fourth place, Christopher Bell did what he needed to do all day, ran top 7 all day. I can say that about all these playoff guys. They ran top 7 all day long. Bell got the points, ran up front, wasn't able quite good enough to lead a bunch of laps. I think he led a few. Yeah, he led 3 laps, so not quite good enough to just dominate or, win like he did last year, but good enough for a top 5 and good enough to have a good points buffer heading into Martinsville. Chase Elliott, this was arguably his best race of the season. Chase Elliott entering this race had led like 214 laps on the entire season. He led 81 today. At Homestead alone, he had only led 31 laps in 8 starts. This was a track that I had no hope for him. I thought he was going to run 12th. Chase Elliott led the most laps in this race. He collected 16 stage points, which in his current position does not matter. He had a race-winning car at portions today. But unfortunately, the last third of the race, it just wasn't there. They were 3rd to 5th. They could lead a couple laps, but Blaney was clearly better. Hamlin was better. Larson was better. And then that last 8-lap run, Bell was better. So Elliott needed a win today. They're in a must-win situation next week. They were in a must-win situation entering today, and ultimately they fell short. 6th place, William Byron. They qualified the worst out of the playoff guys, 25th. They charged through the field. They were in the top 10 the entire day, but kind of like Bell, they just quite weren't there in terms of the speed of Elliott at times, Larson, Blaney, Hamlin, even Reddick. Like, they were just a small step behind and couldn't quite lead the laps, couldn't quite beat those guys. And now they're in a tight point situation heading into Martinsville, but they're in the plus. That's a great place to be, and you're the most recent winner there. 7th place, Alex Bowman. AJ Allmendinger. What is it about Homestead in the next-gen car? He finished top 5 in the first 2 here, and now he's got another top 10 to his name. I really don't know what it is, but it's very impressive by AJ Allmendinger at Homestead. 9th, Carson Hocevar. At one point, he was fighting up in the top 5. Very impressive day. A top 10 result, was up in the top 5, fighting the playoff drivers at times. Great day by Hocevar. Ryan Preece gets a top 10. Great day for him. Barry 11th, Briscoe 12th. SHR out of nowhere. Kyle Larson. This is one of his best tracks. His worst day here on raw speed without a damaged race car is going to be like 4th maybe. He's going to lead laps here. He's going to win stages here. You expect him to be contending for this win. And he was. He was running in the top 3 most of the day, top 4 maybe, once he got back from his early charge. And once again, that first spin, tire goes down. You can't really do anything about it. It was leaking. Just once again, you can't do anything about it. The second one, though, we've talked about this with Larson so much, man. You don't have to win today. You'd be in a tight point situation. Technically, you still are, but you don't have to make the move right then. Yeah, you might get pinned behind the lap car, but you're better than Blaney. You've got 11 laps to go in this thing. Just wait a second. Just wait another second to try to get back to him. Once again, I don't drive these cars. What do I know? Larson now in a points deficit. In the owner's side, they were the regular season champions. Now they're anyways. Michael McDowell, Chris Buescher, Daniel Suarez, Kozlowski, Bubba, Gregson, Gilliland, Stenhouse, Jones. Truex had a cool throwback paint scheme to himself, his championship paint scheme. That was a cool one. Burton, Dillon, John Hunter, Cindric, Logano was irrelevant today, but he doesn't have to be relevant this week or next week because he's already at Phoenix. Hemrick, Zane Smith, Kyle Busch, Kaz Gralla, Ross Chastain, Justin Haley spun twice today. Fun fact. Corey LaJoie, Ty Gibbs, Chad Fincham, JJ Yaley. So, let's look at your point situation, shall we? So here's your point situation. Tyler Reddick and Joey Logano are in. Tyler Reddick, the regular season drivers champion, who has had a pretty rough playoffs, shows up at Homestead and wins. He's advanced. Joey Logano, we already knew he was advanced. Christopher Bell, plus 29. Not a bad spot to be in. Plus 22 to Byron, so even if there's a winner below the cutoff line, as long as he has a decent day, he should be through. Byron, plus 7. Larson, minus 7. The regular season champion in the owner standings, the guy who has the most wins this year, is in the minus heading to Martinsville. Denny Hamlin, minus 18, could very well. Any one of these guys below the cutoff line really could go win if we're being honest. But Hamlin, minus 18, that's going to be a tough point situation. Blaney and Elliott, they're must win. I don't think it's technically mathematic that they're out, like points-wise, but they're out points-wise. They got to win. So, yeah, thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. What a race, man. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 out of 10. Great race, great finish. Thanks for watching again. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Monday after. Mexican Grand Prix just ended at the same time. We'll talk about that tomorrow on the Monday after, if that's okay with you. But thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed. 2 more races this season. Only 2.